Today, we're heading down from Velare on the Blue Line all the way to Redshore City. We're finishing the last stretch and building Redshore Central, the Blue Line's endpoint for now, but also Redshore's future rail hub servicing 2 more regional lines and 4 underground high-speed platforms. We'll start off with terraforming the central and north sections of Redshore City, then move on to build the central and north stations, followed by making a start on the road infrastructure and tram line. And before anyone asks, don't worry, we're not finished with Velare City. However, I'm taking a break to work on some performance issues caused by copycat blocks. Looking in certain areas shows that almost 6,000 block entities are loaded at once, causing a huge drop in performance. I'll be fixing this off camera by creating my own blocks to achieve the same look as the current copycat blocks I'm using. With that said, let's move on with today's video. I started off on the north side of Redshore. Using the smoothing tool in Axiom, I aim to make a smoother and more natural looking overall shape before going into more detail. I used the raise tool to bring rock formations out around the base of the cliffs, then followed up by painting them with the noise painter tool. I started with darker colors at the bottom of the cliffs such as deep slate and tuff. Then closer to the top I used weathered limestone from the create mod, andesite, cobblestone and a few other blocks in between. On the top of the cliffs, I once again used the noise painter tool, mixing in mostly grass and a small amount of coarse dirt, andesite and cobble, aiming to create a forest floor type effect. This may not be the best or most realistic painting method, and your thoughts or suggestions would be much appreciated, but I'm quite happy with the end result for now. For the forest covering the top of the cliffs, I used cypress trees from the Biomes O Plenty mod and spruce trees. Before clearing the vegetation around Redshore, there were huge red maple forests, hence where the name Redshore came from, so I'll later be adding back some red maple trees closer to the city. I didn't want the hills next to where Redshore North will be completely smooth and round, so I used the lowering tool to add some indents to the hills. Maybe some of the softer ground has come loose here due to past heavy rainfall and over time revealed the lighter rock beneath. On the northeast corner of Redshore, I kept the sandy beach, as later this will become an attraction for the north area of the city. For the rest of the water edge surrounding Redshore, I once again used the noise painter tool, utilizing a mix of predominantly clay and a few other blocks such as coarse dirt, gravel and mossy cobble. I purposely made the drop-off fairly harsh around the central area of Redshore since I'll later build a promenade surrounding this section. most of the terraforming out the way for now, it's finally time to move on to the Redshore Central build. I started with the platforms like I always do. I placed tech lamps from the XK Deco mod below the platform edges, then used blackstone bricks and slabs below the rails. For the platforms themselves, I used a combination of andesite and from the Create mod, cut andesite and andesite asphalt to give the platforms some texture. As you may have noticed throughout the start of the video, I kept the trains running, which caused strange artifacts. Don't worry though, I disabled them for the station build. For the overall structure, I'm aiming for a somewhat European style station, but with my own twist. I started by creating arches above the rails with pillars either side. I used the andesite pillar block from Create for the pillars and pulverized cobblestone from the re-chiseled mod for the supporting beams, along with some polished andesite stairs. For the windows, I used industrial iron window panes once again from Create. I feel like these just blend the style in really well. For the roofs, I also used polished blackstone, but felt that for the glass, using the industrial windows was too overwhelming, so I just used framed glass from Create instead. With shaders enabled, the glass on the roof arches provide beautiful light rays during certain hours in the day, but you'll have to wait until a little later on to see this effect. I used girders to support the roofs, and to make the walls inside a little less plain, I added some more supports once again using andesite pillars, pulverized cobblestone, and polished andesite stairs. If you get lost on which blocks come from which mods throughout the video, feel free to check out my mod pack linked in the description, where you'll find everything used in the Indus Metropolis series. For the main concourse, I built a large curved roof arch in the center with two smaller arches either side, then built a circular window in the center section, which will later have a premium lounge behind it. I built smaller sections either side of the main concourse which will house restaurants and shops in the future. I then used copycat slabs with polished blackstone to give the roofs a smoother shape. I added subtle texturing to all the walls using different variations of the red brick block from Create Deco. My original plan was to have the above-ground platforms be accessible via a bridge and the high-speed rail platforms accessible via underground tunnels. However, I decided instead to completely redesign the platform access layout. I started by making the entire concourse much larger, as I realized the original size was way too small for what needed to be built inside. Starting from scratch on the concourse interior, I added some hall seats from the station decoration mod and some rose bushes for decoration. I then added arrival displays and built the first section of the upper floor where there'll be lounges and restaurants for passengers. For access to the high-speed platforms, I built escalators and a large ramp for passengers with lots of luggage and for easier disability access. The outline for the underground entrance was made with connecting diorite from re-chiseled. The sloped blocks were done with Create's copycat blocks, and for the tunnel walls I used cut andesite bricks and polished cut andesite also from Create. All the escalators, lifts, railways, and other forms of transport are from the Minecraft Transit Railway mod, which is pretty much the backbone of the Indus Metropolis series. If you want to learn more about the MTR mod, check out their Discord server linked in the description. As you can see, here I've added elevator shafts, which will later give access to both the regional lines and high-speed lines. I also started on the upstairs floor layout, but we'll come back to that later. I added railings from the station decorations mod, as well as rubbish bins for more detail. I then built escalators and elevators to access the regional platforms. I forgot to mention earlier, but the lights used in the tunnels are wall lights from the Mishang Urban Construction mod. Moving on, I built an access tunnel leading from the elevators I built earlier to the regional lines, along with building the ticket barriers which come by default with the Minecraft Transit Railway mod. I added signs for all the tunnels, which are another feature of the Minecraft Transit Railway mod. To edit the signs, right-click them with the brush tool and find your desired image for each section of the sign. The signs I'm specifically using are from the Tianjin Metro mod, but they still require the MTR mod to function. Back on the regional platforms, I added gantries from the Station Decoration mod, which will support the catenaries, and later on the signs and arrival displays. Now it's time to work on the high-speed rail section of Redshore Central. I began by sectioning off the departure and arrival routes and built a manual ticket office. I may change this later, as I'm not sure if I'm happy with the layout. I then built long ramps leading down to the HSR platforms, eliminating the need for escalators and elevators. I used the noise painter once again for the flooring, using cut diorite and diorite asphalt from Create. And for the walls, I used netherrack bricks with netherrack stripes running along the bottom, and connecting netherite blocks for the structure, both from the re-chiseled mod. You might have noticed security gates a few seconds ago. These are also from the Tianjin Metro mod. For the ceiling above the platforms, I used tunnel blocks from the London Underground add-on. Back at the front of the platforms, I added some small waiting rooms, along with adding arrival displays at the start of each platform. Before moving back up to the concourse, I added a temporary siding to test the fitment of the high-speed trains that I'd use in the future. I originally wanted to use the ICE trains as I love the models, they're really high quality. However, the pantographs were 6 blocks tall instead of 5. So to keep in line with the rest of the railway systems I'd be building, I opted to use the Shinkansen N700 and Taiwan HSR 700T for my future high-speed rail routes instead. So with that decided, I moved back up to the upper floor of the concourse and built a small VIP lounge in the central section like I mentioned near the start of the build. I used a variety of furniture mods here. Paladin's furniture mod for the kitchen blocks and tables, and kawaii dishes for the mugs and coffee machines. There's still a lot left to build at Redshore Central, but I'd had enough station building for the time being, so I took a break and built the bridge for the blue line heading into the station. With this build, I tried to work a little more on intentional texturing rather than using the noise painter. I created a gradient from cut andesite bricks at the top of the bridge down to mossy deep slate bricks at water level, giving the effect of water ingress due to prolonged exposure to water. With the bridge finished and tracks complete for the blue line, I moved on to building the Redshore North station. I won't repeat on all the different blocks I'm using, as this build will utilize pretty much the same block palette as Redshore Central. I may change the concourse design in the future, as I can't help but think it looks like a face every time I look at it. One thing I'd forgotten to do with both these stations is add bathrooms, which I think is a fairly important feature. I'll add these along with other unfinished details during streams which I occasionally host on my TikTok page or on the Minecraft Transit Railway Twitch account. All my social links can be found on my Linktree page linked in the description, as well as the link for my Discord server with almost 200 members and an active community centered around Minecraft city building. With the Redshore North station complete for now, I built the missing pillars for the viaducts leading into the station. After I finished recording this episode, I finally figured out how to ensure the rails stay visible during replays, so you'll be able to see them in future videos. Here I'm testing out the path tool in Axiom with highways that I'll build through Redshore in the future. However, I'm not sure whether to use the bridge creator with the Minecraft Transit Railway mod for easier route creation. We'll see, but I'm going to leave the highways out for now. I then started work on the promenade design, which will surround the central area of Redshore. I built each design, then tested them with the path creator tool before settling on a design which worked perfectly. I decided to go with this fourth design since it fit in with the style I was going for and worked great with Axiom's path tool. I started by creating a copy of this promenade section, then set the shape in the path tool to my clipboard. I set the curve type to Catmull Rom Spline as this gave the best result for following the shape of the terrain. Since the metal bars get a bit messed up after using the path tool, I switched to the magic select tool, selected all the metal bars, and used the trigger updates operation to force the correct connections. Unlike Velare City, Redshore has a lot more open area, so I decided to build an above-ground car park behind Redshore Central. My idea is there'll be a dual-lane, one-way system coming off the highway from the north. General traffic will be able to head straight on through a tunnel into the Redshore Central area, or right into the car park. Buses, however, will turn right running through the center of the car park to a bus stop at the end, where passengers can connect with rail services or head through the station to the city center. For the road markings, I'm using the Traffic Craft mod. You can paint road markings using either the asphalt block, which I'm using, or concrete block. Dip a paintbrush into a bucket with whichever color dye you desire, then right-click, holding the brush to select which road marking you wish to use. I created a short stay drop-off or pickup area at the front of Redshore Central with a road leading off to the left, which will eventually head to hotels or apartment blocks in the area. I also finally added subtle texturing to all the tunnels I've been building using andesite bricks from the re-chiseled mod and polished andesite. Then I moved on to creating the forecourt area leading up to Redshore Central, using an alternating pattern of polished limestone from the Create mod and polished dripstone. However, I later swapped the limestone for weathered limestone as I felt it was originally too bright. It's now time to get on to the final segment of the episode, starting the tram line. Today, we'll just be building the section of line between Redshore Central and the beach in the northeast corner. I started off by building the city centre station at the bottom of the forecourt area at Redshore Central. I'll be using these red and white trams from the World Tram Pack, as I think they suit the city's style well. I then built a small bridge running parallel to the Blueline Bridge for the tramline and to allow pedestrians access to the north part of the city. I built it using polished tuff and cut tuff to give it a slightly older look. Moving on, I built the forecourt area and tram stop at Redshore North. If you're wondering how the poles used to hold the roofs connect with slabs, it's because they're the traffic sign poles from the Traffic Craft mod. And for the final tram stop today, I built the Redshore Beach stop. This is the end stop for the tram line and will service future attractions built in the area. To finish off, I added some more detail around the forecourt area at Redshore Central, including building footbridges above the tram lines for use during high traffic hours. I also added a little more decoration, such as making a star on the catenary for the tram line and adding signs using the decoration object block. But unfortunately, that's all I had time for in this episode, so let's take a look at what we've built today. So that concludes episode 6 of the Indus Metropolis series. If you wish to try the world out for yourself, it's currently available on my Patreon page with the Metropolis Architect tier and above. And I update the download after every episode. I'm not quite sure what the plan is for the next episode. Either I'll aim to finish Velare City or make a start on the airport and rail link, we'll see. But as always, thank you for watching and feel free to like, subscribe and comment any thoughts you may have.